Is there anyone else out there that is concerned about, us, the USA, becoming a white nationalist party? Is there anyone else concerned? Because I am definitely concerned that Trump is pledging his alliance to the white nationalist movement. And I know that he needs them to win, supposedly. I'm not sure why. He's so rich. But, supposedly the white nationalist leaders are plotting to take over the GOP. I don't know how that's going to work. But, I mean, obviously the GOP is still alive and awaiting here. With our next election, we really need to focus on figuring out how to do this electoral college because it was so violent and so ridiculous. I don't even understand how it worked. White nationalists on political ideology, it's a pan-nationalist which espouses the belief that white people are a race and seeks to develop and maintain a white national identity. Its prominents identify with it are attached to a concept of white nations. So I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, Trump knows that this is not just a white nation. So I'm not quite sure where he's getting the right or to say something so hateful. One minute he says, "Oh, the hate that the Jewish people that got shot in the synagogue," and I mean, he says he wants everyone to be together, but yet you say you're a nationalist. White nationalist groups, white supremacists, or white separatist ideology often focus on alleging inferiority, excuse me, inferiority of non-whites. So groups like a variety of groups categorized like KKK, Ku Klux Klan, neo-Confederate, neo-Nazis, racist skinhead, and Christian identity. I mean, so I'm really trying to sit back and see because I know they were talking about how they wanted the religious beliefs to be the most important part of their campaign. How are they going to do that when you have so many people who are outraged with the white nationalist group? How are they going to do that? I mean, who's going to be the superior race when it comes to race? We obviously know they think that they believe the whites are, but who's going to be the actual superior religious belief that the United States is going to take, according to Trump? When he wants to do this, of course, Jeff Sessions left, but he did bring in a few people by starting a church message with a bunch of different pastors and like a leadership team, which I kind of questioned myself because of the way things went down. But I guess the start is a better start later than never. And for them to say anything about, um, you know, I don't think anyone has the right to say anything about hate coming out of his mouth when he said something as far as we're nationalists. He's a nationalist. That doesn't mean every American is a nationalist. We're not nationalists. We're just here to stay alive in this world and do what we can. And we're not nationalists. Some of us do have disabilities, and we're trying here with the group that I'm in to focus on our abilities. And sometimes our abilities are limited, but we can do what we can do on our time. And we had did this big breast cancer care packages, and we didn't know that you couldn't put cough drops in there because sometimes that helps after the treatment, but we didn't know you couldn't put it on there. So Facebook obviously couldn't sell them, and we didn't know that until later. So we still have about 20 of them. So in Cleveland Clinic, I'm still waiting to hear back from them. But there's other organizations obviously who need it, and we definitely will get them to you. So rest assured, it will not go to waste. We definitely are showing these young men and women that just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you can't go at your own pace and focus on what you're good at. And I think that's what we need to be teaching all on disability. With it, inclusiveness is great, but inclusiveness means educating the public, not just the people that are in the home, and one of the things I saw was, of course, LGBT, they don't want them adopting at all across America. What I say to that is, you don't want them to adopt. Well, then your church needs to step forward and get these kids out of the foster care system, because there are so many kids that need homes. So if you feel that your church is going to take out all of these kids in foster homes, my God bless you. Do it, because ultimately the ones who are taking them in that are really doing a great job with them are not just LGBT, but are single parents. I mean, you're using your morals and your values on these children, which shouldn't even be taught. Some of them need a family. And sometimes after the family, even after they turn 18, they're still considered family. And, to all those parents who are going through a very difficult time right now, because, Betsy DeVos is our education secretary of education. You guys all know that. I've complained many times, more so about the guidelines that she cut out for the sexual assault victims. They have to follow a certain protocol, and she took away that. She also took out 70 documents out of the IEP. So, there's a lot of parents out here struggling. One of the things I see a lot of is they say they want you to keep a baby when you get pregnant. Great, I agree with the same thing. Another thing is they're not looking at funding wise to help these children. These parents need a break. There's so many things that they could take and learn from everyday people like us who have breaks, but also are willing to sacrifice and do things that other people might not do. So I just wish for once, that a country person, obviously Trump probably will not reach out to me, but someone else, to give them some ideas on how to change the system. Our system is broken, and I've said this time and time again. I mean, not just about the reform of the judicial system. We're talking about broken. I never were into politics until this year, when I thought, oh my goodness, you feel like if something happens to you, your kids are going to be okay. And I mean, adult children who suffer from, diseases like autism spectrum disorder or mental health, they're going to always have that waiver. And to see you as Trump and Pence take that away, it was very difficult and very, very hard. Um, a lot of people voted for you because you made it such a big deal that you were going to support the families. But I think you support some families, but you're not supporting all families. And that's really not fair. One thing in life, my mom always said, life isn't always fair. There's no way you could particularly help everybody. But I think you could help a lot of the hate crime by denouncing white nationalists, by denouncing some of the hate that's going on. You could give in to some of these gun laws. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Trump, you didn't even, you keep telling me you're for the veterans, people should kneel. But there was wind, and that kept you away from honoring our veterans at an important time that was a case. You wanted to showcase our veterans. That was a place you could have done it, and you wouldn't have had to spend a bunch of money doing it. I think a lot of people play into, all this or that, but really Trump missed an important part, you and your wife, on veterans. You missed an important part. That was a time to shine. That was a time for you to speak and talk about what the veterans go through. You missed it. You missed another opportunity. And, people look at that. And, all the people that I have in the family that are veterans or allies, it's sad. It's very sad that you did that, because that was your moment to shine. You want these big old grades, spend a bunch of dollars doing it. That money could have went to something else, and you could have said your piece right then. You have so much to tweet. I'm sure you could have said something that day. You tweeted before you got off the plane and kind of insulted this Paris diplomat. But I think he was already insulted by the whole nationalist thing anyway, which a lot of people are going to be, and you knew that because you said, hey, I don't know why people get mad about this nationalist statement that I'm about to make. So you knew what you were doing, and now we have consequences. I just wish that you would help and go down to people. Stop listening to all your rich people that are in office there, and actually go down to the people who are in the struggle of everyday life. Okay? Wish. You know, there are people out here who can't get ramps built, you know? They're in a wheelchair, can't get a ramp built because there's no programs. You know, sometimes I wonder, I'd like to become a 501c3. I don't know how to do that. But I'd love that because then I could help more, you know, doing more, I think. I think I found my niche of how I can help. Um, and sometimes it's just a hugging another parent from down the street whose child is not getting the services they need, you know, from educating even the officers, you know, of children who have disabilities. And just because they don't look at you, don't take it as a sign of disrespect. You know, when people have autism spectrum disorder, you're saying with multiple cops, that's putting them in sensory overdrive. And majority of the autism spectrum disorder who have sensory issues are already have issues